The air was thick with tension that crisp October morning in 2027, when the HOA president and her hired muscle stormed up to our doorstep in a quiet Charlotte suburb. Their fists pounded on the door like a war drum, and before I could react, they shoved my grandfather, a frail 80-year-old, down the porch steps. The sickening crunch of his arm breaking against the concrete echoed in my ears, a sound that still haunts me. That moment wasn't just an assault, it was the spark that ignited a fire I didn't know I had in me. My name's Ethan Carter, a cybersecurity analyst who spends his days hunting digital ghosts for corporate clients. But this was personal. They thought they could bully us into silence. They had no idea what I was about to unleash, a plan so relentless it would leave our entire community stunned. Let me take you back to how it all began, and trust me, you won't see the ending coming. I live in a sleepy Charlotte neighborhood with my grandfather, Colonel Henry Hank Mitchell, a retired Air Force intelligence officer who served under 3 presidents. At 80, Hank's a legend, sharp as ever, with a Medal of Honor from a classified 1995 mission in Bosnia where he saved the life of a young officer who's now a U.S. Senator. Their friendship is the kind forged in fire, unbreakable even after decades. My job makes me paranoid, so I'd rigged our house with top-tier security, 4K cameras, motion sensors, audio recorders, and an alert system that pings my phone at the slightest anomaly. Neighbors thought I was overdoing it. They'd soon learn why I wasn't. Our neighborhood was run by the Pineview Estates HOA, led by Cassandra Cassie Wentworth, a 45-year-old with sleek auburn hair, piercing green eyes, and a wardrobe of tailored Chanel suits that screamed money. She drove a silver Bentley and claimed to own a global shipping firm, Wentworth Global. But something about her felt off from the start. Maybe it was the way she watched people, like a predator sizing up prey. Or maybe it was the late-night cargo trucks rumbling through our residential streets, massive, unmarked rigs with out-of-state plates that stopped near a warehouse district just blocks away. Neighbors brushed it off as Cassie's business. But in my line of work, you learn to spot patterns others miss. Those trucks didn't move like normal deliveries, and Cassie's hands-on oversight felt more like a military operation than a logistics check. Her fixation on my grandfather was what really set off alarms. 6 months ago, she started showing up with community forms needing Hank's signature, always pushing for biometric verification odd for HOA paperwork. She'd linger, her eyes locked on the titanium ring on Hank's finger, a rare government-issued device with a biometric chip used by only a handful of former officials for authorizing classified shipments. When Hank politely refused to sign, her polished smile would falter, revealing a cold edge. She'd drop hints about community compliance and bring high-tech scanners that had no business in neighborhood disputes. My training screamed surveillance, not HOA busywork. I dug into our security footage and found chilling proof. Cassie had been staking out our house for weeks, using binoculars to track Hank's routines when he was alone, when he handled documents, even when he watered his garden. This wasn't neighborly nosiness. It was professional-grade reconnaissance. The trucks always parked nearby on nights she knew Hank was home alone. The pieces were falling into place, and they pointed to something far darker than HOA overreach. Cassie's harassment escalated into absurdity. She delivered daily violation notices. Our hedge was 0.2 inches too tall, $600 fine. Our mailbox disrupted aesthetic unity, $400 fine. Even Hank's hummingbird feeder was unauthorized wildlife attraction, $300 fine. It was psychological warfare, not neighborhood management. When Hank pushed back, Cassie showed up with her compliance team, 2 goons, Victor Hayes and Derek Malone, who looked like they belonged in a crime syndicate, not an HOA. Victor, a hulking 6 feet 5 inches with a shaved head and a scar across his jaw, moved like he'd broken kneecaps for a living. Derek, lean and wiry, had eyes that could curdle blood. Their HOA enforcement title was laughable. They were hired muscle, plain and simple. I hacked into the HOA's email server child's play with their outdated security, and what I found turned my suspicion into dread. Cassie wasn't just harassing Hank. She'd hired a shady firm, Eclipse Investigations, to dig into his military records, clearances, and that ring's capabilities. Her emails with someone coded as KR mentioned Operation Nighthawk, cargo clearance protocols, and biometric authorization. These weren't HOA terms, they were the language of international smuggling. Cassie wasn't after fines or compliance. She was hunting Hank's ability to authorize restricted shipments. Then came the morning that changed everything. October 12th, 2027, 6:32 a.m. My security system blared an alert, multiple figures at our door, raised voices. I programmed it to live stream to my social media and back up to the cloud if it detected aggression. Cassie, flanked by Victor and Derek, wasn't playing HOA president anymore. Dressed in a black tactical blazer, she banged on our door, shouting, "Mr. Mitchell, open this door. We need your signature on federal shipping forms, and I'm not leaving without it." Hank, in his robe, opened the door, feigning confusion. "Cassandra, I'm just an old man. I don't have that kind of authority," he said calmly. But Cassie was done with games. "Don't play dumb," she snapped, shoving a biometric scanner at him. "That ring of yours is worth $60 million in cargo sitting in a warehouse. Sign, or things get ugly." When Hank pulled away, Cassie nodded to Victor. He grabbed Hank's arm, yanking him toward the scanner. Hank resisted, and in a flash, Victor shoved him hard. My grandfather stumbled, his feet catching on the porch edge, and he tumbled down the steps. The crack of his arm breaking was like a gunshot. Blood seeped from a gash on his forehead as he lay groaning on the driveway. I froze for a heartbeat, rage flooding my veins. Cassie just stood there, cold as ice, while my security system captured every second. What she didn't know was that the live stream was already going viral. Within hours, Justice for Hank was trending, with millions of views on X, TikTok, and Instagram. The video showed her confession about the $60 million cargo, the assault, everything. Comments poured in, veterans sharing stories of elder abuse, families recounting scams, strangers sending support. By noon, local news was at our door, and civil rights lawyers offered to take our case pro bono. But the real game changer came at 3:15 p.m. when my phone rang. "This is Daniel Brooks, Chief of Staff to the President," the voice said. "The senator saw your grandfather's assault. He considers it a personal attack on a man who saved his life in Bosnia. We're mobilizing federal resources." The senator, Hank's old friend, had ordered a full-scale investigation involving the FBI, ATF, and DEA. Cassie's empire began to crumble. Tips flooded in about her shady warehouse deals and lavish spending. In a panic, she hired a PR firm to paint Hank as a fraudster faking his injury for clout. But her lies were sloppy. Hank's decorated record was public, and her claims fell apart under scrutiny. Then she made a fatal mistake. Rushing to email her PR team, she accidentally sent a dossier of her trafficking network clients, shipping routes, $600 million in transactions to the FBI's Charlotte office. It was a gold mine. 289 clients, 180 containers, cartel connections. The FBI called me, chuckling. "Sometimes criminals do our job for us." I didn't stop there. I launched ExposeCassie.org, a digital war room with real-time tracking of her shipments, financial records, and warehouse locations. It became a beacon for law enforcement worldwide. On October 15th, 2027, at 4 a.m., federal raids hit 19 sites across 6 states. Cassie's mansion revealed a hidden command center with encrypted comms, maps of U.S. bases, and files tying her to a terrorist group, Crimson Veil. Her real name? Irina Volkov, a former Russian operative posing as an HOA tyrant to target officials like Hank. She'd coerced signatures from 3 other retirees, 2 of whom died mysteriously after complying. During the raid, Irina barricaded herself in her office, screaming about HOA immunity before fleeing on a golf cart at a pathetic 6 miles per hour. She didn't get far. Her network collapsed. 149 arrests, $300 million seized. I went further, dismantling her finances, 14 accounts frozen, $50 million in tax evasion exposed. Her mansion? I bought it at auction for $900,000 and turned it into the Henry Mitchell Veterans Hub, a haven for homeless vets. Her office is now a tech lab, her bedroom, a clinic. At Irina's trial, the FBI dropped a bombshell. Hank had been a federal honey trap for 3 years, baiting operatives like Irina. Every move, his refusals, his vulnerability, was calculated. He'd been feeding the FBI intel, dismantling a terrorist network from our quiet porch. The judge sentenced Irina to 70 years, her goons to 20 each. Hank. He got the Presidential Medal of Freedom, presented by the senator himself. Today, Hank tends his garden, free of fake fines. The Veterans Hub thrives, inspiring centers nationwide. My website now fights elder scams, nailing 250 predators and counting. Evil hides in plain sight behind HOA rules, fake smiles, and red tape. But family, tech, and grit can bring it down. What would you do if someone targeted your loved ones with such ruthless deception? Have you faced bullies hiding behind authority? Should elders like Hank risk their safety for justice? Or is it too much to ask? Drop your thoughts below, like, and subscribe. You're fighting for the vulnerable, one story at a time.